Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to the live cancer show tonight, which is, I think it's the 5th of August, I forget, or 4th of
August
August.
4th.
Hey, perfect. Thanks, Steve. I got a fellow online or on the show tonight, Steve del Gardo out of the Ohio, northern Ohio area, right outside of Cincinnati, who experienced breast cancer a year and a half ago, and he's here to tell us all about it and some of the really fantastic things he's doing promoting the awareness of breast cancer, particularly for men. And yes, men do get it, and yes, men are treated basically like the women are. So let me turn it over to you, Steve, and introduce yourself and kind of tell us how things got going.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Steve del Gardo, and to start off, I'm a male breast cancer survivor. I've been cancer-free for about 16 months now. And what started it is how I got to know my lump is basically I was taking a shower. It was August 2012, like any other day, taking a shower, and I found a lump in my left breast area, like my left pec area. And I thought at the time it couldn't be breast cancer because at that time I didn't think men can get breast cancer. And, it's a cyst. So I went to see my doctor. And my primary doctor said, you know what, Steve? I have to send you to the breast center in town. And I was just like, really? I'm like, okay. So he sent me over to the breast center, and it's a little bit intimidating because it's a wellness center for women. And I'm thinking, all right, what's going on? This is going to be interesting. So I remember walking in, and I just remember, this is just weird. It's all about women. I remember filling out the forms. It was all in pink, and I remember that all the questions they were asking, "Who's my gynecologist?" And I was like, "I'm gynecologist. When was your last menstrual period?" I'm like, "Come on, people." I'm like, and even the picture of the breast wasn't my picture of my breast. It was a good-looking breast. So I put the lump where it was, and I gave the forms back to the receptionist. I'm like, I cannot answer any of these questions. Here's my name, my birth date, and they were like looking at me. I'm like, I'm sorry, but so I'm in that room, and I'm looking around. I'm like, all right, it's a lot of women here, and there's guys here, but the guys are, for their significant other. And I'm standing next to a plant, and I'm thinking like, oh, please, this is embarrassing. So when my name was called, I went back to see the doctor, and now he's feeling around and said, yeah, he goes, you get to get a mammogram. And I'm thinking like, a mammogram? I'm like, this was crazy. And so I remember, ladies, I understand what you're going through. When I saw the device, I said to myself, that's a medieval torture device. I looked at this thing, I'm like, you're gonna put my chest in there and you're gonna squeeze it? And they were like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I did the mammogram, and after that, I really feel for all those ladies out there who get it every year. I know the pain, I know it's uncomfortable and everything. But after that was done, the surgeon or the doctor at the time looked at it and he did the biopsy, and he said, hey, it's benign. After waiting a couple days, he says it should disappear in 6 months. You're good to go. I'm like, okay, great. So this whole time, from April to, I'd say, October of 2012, I gained a lot of weight. I noticed changes in my body. The lump grew to a golf ball sized lump. That's what it felt like.
I'm
And
sorry, grew to how big?
well, it felt like it grew. I don't know what the true size of it was, but I felt it in my. It wasn't behind the nipple, like you read on the internet. Oh, it's got to be behind the nipple, discharging. It wasn't that. It was left of my nipple, and it was large, and I couldn't sleep on it, and I was gaining a lot of weight. I couldn't figure out why. My friends told me I was depressed a lot. I didn't think I was, but I was gaining weight in different areas of my body. I shouldn't be gaining weight. And then it was like after Halloween, it was like early part of November. I heard a voice in my head that you get back to the doctor, the same doctor that said it was benign. I'm like, all right. So I had to go back to the same breast center again, fill out the same paperwork again. And I'm thinking like, okay, you didn't change anything. And they were like, well, we have, because men don't really get breast cancer. I'm like, you're gonna be in for a surprise. So the doctor looked at me and said, Steve, you gotta get that lump out. I'm like, yeah, I know. So I went to the surgery and he took the lump out. And this whole time, the waiting part really was long. I didn't think, waiting to hear the results. I couldn't sleep. I was just like, what's going on? I'm going on the internet looking breast cancer for men. And I'm like, I couldn't find anything on the internet. Really, there wasn't really anything. I couldn't find, the statistics I couldn't find anything. So a week goes by, he said, and I went back to the doctor, and he said, Steve, you have stage 1. I'm like, stage 1 what? He said, breast cancer. I'm like, and I don't remember anything else he said afterwards. It was. I just remember sitting in a room, and I remember getting up from the room, walking out, and I went to the elevators, and I called my best friend Jamie up in Columbus, and I said, hey, you have to buy those pink shoes, those pink running shoes. And he was like, really? I'm like, yeah, buy those pink sneakers for me. I got it. And then after that, I remember walking to my car, and I broke down. I mean, it just hit me hard. I remember sitting in my car, and I cried. I mean, I literally cried. And I called my girlfriend at the time, and I called my parents. And I remember I said I wasn't embarrassed. I wasn't embarrassed calling my mom. I was just afraid telling my mom and dad I had cancer. So I remember calling my dad. I'm like, 'cause my dad's a tough guy. I mean, he's New York Italian. I'm like, all right, Dad. I called him up. I'm like, Dad, I have breast cancer. Tell Mom I'll be over later for some spaghetti and meatballs. Goodbye. And then I just couldn't handle the 20 questions you get from parents.
Yeah.
So I remember going over there that night, and my mom was crying. I was like, Mom, you can cry now, but I need you to be strong for me, and I just need you guys to be there for me and be support. And they were great. And then my dad said, okay, what's the next steps? I'm like, I gotta get a mastectomy. He was like, what? I'm like, yeah. So they want to do both sides. And I said, please do so, because there's a 20% chance it might come back in 5 years. I'm like, yeah, let's just get it done. So mastectomy was done like November 27th, and then I had to wait another week or so before I decide how many rounds of chemo I need. And the doctor said, you can do 4 rounds of chemo. I'm like, okay. So is that all I need to do? He said, yes. And he said, we'll start after the new year, and so you can celebrate New Year's Eve, go out and have a blast. But after that, you have to start the chemo. And this whole time, my oncologist was saying, Steve, you're gonna lose your hair. I'm like, my hair? I love my hair. He goes, I'm saying you need chemo. I'm like, I don't, that's fine, but I'm gonna lose my hair? I'm like, I love my hair. He goes, Steve, I promise it's gonna come back blacker. I'm like, it's gonna come back blacker? I'm like, and he goes, and it might come back a little bit wavier or curlier. I'm like, that's great, because I had straight hair this whole time growing up. I'm like, great, I have a natural wave. This is awesome. Then he says, well, it might come back a different color too. Different color? I'm like, wait a second. So he was like, I was just freaking out. I would have dreams of me waking up with red hair, and I was like, okay. Red curly hair, and I have an afro on my head. I don't know. But after I think it was my second treatment of my chemo, I got my hair shaved off because I was taking a shower. The lumps of hair were coming out. I was taking a shower, and I'm realizing, like, I can't do this. So I got it shaved off, and you know what? I kind of embraced my baldness. I kind of liked it. Maybe look differently, but I really liked it. And so after the second treatment, after I was recovering at my parents' house, is when I decided a voice came to me. It could have been the Vicodin, it could have been divine intervention, but I heard a voice that said, you need to start a male breast cancer awareness foundation. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be great. I got my pen and paper out, and I started writing down what it needs to be. Should it be the Steve del Gardo Foundation, Del Gardo Breast Foundation? I couldn't, it wasn't, it shouldn't be about the individual. It shouldn't be about me. I want to be about all men. So my good friend Jerry Pascaletti, he said, Steve, I got a logo for you. I called him up, said, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm going to start a male breast cancer awareness foundation, but it's got to encompass all men in their fight. So he came up with the logo, Protect the Pecs logo. It's an Italian-looking boxer with both hands up, pink and blue boxing gloves to signify the men's fight in breast cancer. So Protect the Pecs was born. But then I'll decide, okay, what's going to be our goals? What are we trying to accomplish? Well, there's great foundations out there that do awareness. And that's great. That's all they do is awareness. I want to take it one step further. So I decided I want to raise funds for medical research for male breast cancer. Because there really isn't anything out there that, over the years, like I did some research, so over 20 years, billions and billions were poured into breast cancer research. But I didn't see any dollars were going to male breast cancer research or any clinical studies for men with breast cancer. I mean, for example, tamoxifen. That's the pill I have to take now for the next 10 years. So I'm always asking my oncologist, I'm like, so, how long do I need to take this pill for? He said, well, Steve, most women take it for 10 years now. I'm like, well, doc, the last time I checked, I was a male. And he was just like, yes, there's no clinical studies showing how long men should take it for. I was like, what? Are you seriously? He says, yeah. I'm like, oh, great. So he goes, you got to take this pill. There will be some side effects. I'm like, okay. He goes, well, I'll give you pills to combat the side effects. So I'm like, so I got to take pills to. He goes, yeah. I'm like, all right, this is going to be fun. So while I was taking tamoxifen, the side effects I was having was hot flashes. And ladies, hot flashes, I understand completely what it is. I mean, I've never been so hot in my life. Like you be sitting on the couch and all of a sudden you have this 2,000-degree hot flash, and you want to stick your head in the freezer to feel better. I mean, I understand completely. Insomnia, I have anxiety a lot. It's a testosterone rage. I had a rage, like I was angry, and it turns me into a different person socially. Being on tamoxifen, it changes your mood. Like anything little would upset me, and so for the longest time, I wasn't taking it because it changed who I was as a person, and my father would say, Steve, you have to weigh quality of life or taking this pill. But the pill is going to stop or slow down and block the estrogen in my body if I get any more tumors. So it's like, what do I do? So I went back to my oncologist and I told him, and he said, well, Steve, there isn't anything else out there. And that just made me more upset. I'm like, makes me, my goals for organization, like we got to do male breast cancer research. We have to raise funds. We have to do clinical studies. And with that, I went to the University of Cincinnati Cancer Institute, and I told them what I'm doing with their organization. And he said, Steve, we will create a Protect the Pecs fund with the Cancer Institute so people can donate directly to, and we can start doing medical research and clinical studies. I'm like, great. Nice. So I got that partnership. So we're ready to go. We just need, funding to start any type of research program. So back to tamoxifen, I decided not to take it for a little while until my doctor kind of scared me and said, you need to take it. So I take it every day now. I do take it with a vitamin D pill, and I notice when I take it with a vitamin D pill, my joint pain stops. So that's what I was getting a lot too. Joint pain was another side effect.
Did that help the hot flashes any, Steve? Because that's been known to help a little bit.
Yes, I don't get it as much anymore. The hot flashes died down. Joint pain, I don't get anymore. So it just, but the rage, the being angry is still there. The doctor said he'll give me pills for that too, but I just hate taking pills for taking pills. So I'm trying to manage it or find ways to not be so angry.
Okay.
So I'm taking tamoxifen every day. I was taking a half a dose every day, but then I'm back to taking a full dose. I take it at night, which helps out a lot.
How old is your oncologist? Excuse me. Is he an older guy, your oncologist, or a younger person?
I say he's in his, well, I'm 45, so I'd say he's in his 50s, I think.
Had he had,
young guy.
Had he had any other folks with men with breast cancer? Did he talk to you about that?
No, I'm his only patient with male breast cancer.
Yeah.
But my surgeon had multiple males in the area that has breast cancer, and we all kind of connected. It's still, I don't talk to them directly. I talk to their wives a lot and their daughters, because men still have this stigma of being embarrassed about having breast cancer. And I'm trying to get men to say, hey, it's okay. You can come out and say you have breast cancer, because it doesn't mean that you have women's breasts. It means you have breast tissue. And every guy, every woman out there has breast tissue.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I went through, and I'm taking all this information that I'm getting and building this foundation, Protect the Pecs. And one of my other goals, I got a couple goals with the foundation, which I'm trying to build upon. One is I want to build a national male breast cancer registry, first of its kind, so we can collect the data from these men, so we can provide better research. With the oncologists can use this research, researchers and pharmaceutical companies can use this data to start developing drugs that be designed for men to have this breast cancer.
Yeah.
Because all the drugs out there are designed for women.
You know what the ratio is of men versus women with breast cancer?
Yes. It's 1% of the breast cancers. So 1 in 1,000 men will be can be diagnosed in their lifetime, as opposed to 1 in 8 with women.
Wow.
And approximately it's about 2,300 men a year are diagnosed with it, and about 450 die every year. And what I'm reading about is the mortality rate is a lot higher for guys with breast cancer, because they wait to go see the doctor when they find the lump.
Right.
And we need to stop that. We need to say, hey, when you find a lump, guys, go see your doctor. Don't wait. I mean, you can save your life. I mean, don't be embarrassed about it. You have to suck it up. Go to the doctor. You go through what I went through, the mammogram. You got to do all of that. And it's educating men out there, and also talk to your doctors. I mean, hey, just opening up to the doctors and learning more about it. And the doctors need to, start talking to their patients more about, hey, are there any breast cancer in your family? I'm like, if so, you might be carrying the BRCA gene, which is now coming out in the open more. The guys can have the BRCA gene be passed on to their daughters or sons, and their sons now can be getting it. For example, there's this guy out in, I think in Massachusetts. His girlfriend reached out to me and said that he has breast cancer, and now his brother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and the father had the BRCA gene, and he had cancer. So it was passed down through the sons. And so that's important to know is about your history, your family history. I mean, your not just the history of breast cancer in your family, but also genetic disorders. Um, Sometimes men with the Klinefelter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
the extra Y chromosome, is they have a higher risk to getting breast cancer. Environmental effects, for example, Camp Lejeune. Did you hear about this?
No.
United States Marines, 88 U.S. Marines now have breast cancer due to the fact of contaminated water from Camp Lejeune in the late 50s to I think the early 80s. Uh, they're finding out that millions of recruits that went through there during that time, they could have been exposed to contaminated waters, and now those Marines who are their 60s or 70 years old are starting getting breast cancer, and they linked it towards this contaminated water supply.
Wow.
So it's happening more. We're hearing about it a lot more now, and I'm hearing it's coming out in the limelight. Hey, you know, uh, breast cancer in men. I mean, even though the numbers are low, more men are getting it, and we have to, like I said, educate everybody from insurance companies um, to companies out there that want to donate. Like for example, I'm trying to get companies to donate to my cause, and changing the way of thinking for them. It's like, hey, men get breast cancer too, and a lot of these companies they only support women's initiatives. And I'm trying to get them to change that. Hey, men can get breast cancer too. I'm a male breast cancer awareness foundation. Will you support, my foundation so we can get better educational material, research and things like that. And so I'm struggling with that. And changing their minds. So it's a lot of talking to them and also asking, individuals out there, to donate to the foundation, and that's, it's a hard thing, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm struggling with right now.
Now, are you aware of any protocols or drug studies for men only? I'm not aware of any, but
I didn't find anything on the internet or anywhere that has done any clinical study. I think I heard the Boston University or Boston College did a BRCA study on men, I think, last year. But other than that, clinical studies, I haven't heard of anything done on like a tamoxifen or anything like that. But I did hear that the FDA finally are asking more males to try to get more men to do clinical studies now for breast cancer. I did hear that from a friend through the grapevine like over 2 weeks ago.
how
So,
hard is it for men to get the BRCA study done?
um,
And
I don't
pay?
think it's hard at all. I think just go to your doctor and ask for it. But I heard from other people that sometimes men are turned away from getting the study. It's again educating those facilities, um, talking to hospitals and the wellness centers, things like that. Say, hey, men do get breast cancer, and they'll be coming in for the BRCA study. They need to get checked out because it
Right.
can save their family. And I heard from Dr. Susan Weinberg. She's the director of the Mary Jo Crawford Institute here in Cincinnati. I met with her a couple weeks ago, and she was telling me about this new thing that they're doing with the embryo. They're taking the BRCA out of the embryo. I can't say that word, sorry, but they're taking it out, and then so it won't be passed down to
Ooh.
to the children.
Yeah.
It's a new thing that they're doing.
Running out of time, why don't you tell us real quickly about some of the programs you got going to raise money for your program?
Sure, I'm doing events. I'm doing fundraising events to sell shirts. I got Protect the Pecs shirts for one for 15 or two for 25. Um, Cincinnati Reds is doing a give back game for us on September 8th, where I can sell like 700 tickets. I go out there and throw out the first pitch, and I'm trying to raise funds. I'm connecting with organizations in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Cyclones, the Cincinnati Reds. I partnered with this guy named Mike Graycraft from the Testicular Cancer Society. We're going to start doing events together, pub crawls, some Monte Carlo nights, things like that. An art exhibit, gallery. I want to do veterans against male breast cancer, things like that. I'm trying to do galas and events.
Nice. And how do people find you?
You
Email,
can go to
websites? Or?
Yeah, you can go to protectthepecs.org. You can go to my Facebook page, Protect the Pecs, and I'm on Twitter.com, /Protect the Pecs. And then my email is Steven with the PH .delgardo@gmail.com. That's my personal email. And then my my foundation email is sdelgardo@protectthepecs.org.
Now, wait, say that last one again, please. The foundation one.
sdelgardo
Okay.
@protectthepecs.org.
Perfect.
And anyone can reach me anytime. And if you have a male person in your family that is going through male breast cancer, please have them give me a call. I'll offer any type of support I can, peer-to-peer support.
You're doing some really exciting work, and like you said, there's not many people doing this work, and so you're very much needed right now, and that's exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. This is my calling, and I love doing this type of thing.
Oh, perfect. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight and giving up a late night for us here. It's
great.
8:30. It goes by fast. You're the nicest one to interview because I just kind of sat here all night and you did all the talking. You did the teaching for me.
Thank you, Roy. I love it. Please have me on again. This is great for the both of us.
Oh, I really will. And for everybody, I'll have a lot of these addresses up on the screen sometime probably tomorrow evening. So if you want to watch it on YouTube, you can go there and just pull up protectthepecs.org, and it's going to be found that way. And definitely, we got to get you back on the show, and we got to get you some money for that baseball game.
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay. So let me sign off, and Steve, stay on, and I'll get back with you in just a second. So.
Okay.
So everybody, talk to you later next week. Thank you for watching tonight, and have a good night. See ya.